Hi, guys. Hi. Welcome to day number 4. This is Coach Joy Maxwell from the Joy of Childcare, and I want to welcome you to day number 4 of our Leading with Joy in Childcare. Once again, I hope that the challenge has been helpful for you. And I hope that throughout this time, you guys are able to gather information that will help you change some things in your establishment when it comes to leadership, when it comes to onboarding, when it comes to orientation, so that you can see the best results possible in your childcare. So, tonight's topic is people don't leave companies, people leave people. And we're going to dive into some of the top reasons why people leave companies. Oftentimes, we hear conversations about why is there such high turnover in childcare? And besides from the fact that most child care facilities don't pay the best salaries, there are some other major reasons why people leave. So we're going to dive right in. So the workstar.com has developed the top 11 most common reasons why people leave their jobs. And this study was conducted in 2018. Okay. The first reason why most people leave their job is because of lack of appreciation. Somewhere along the lines, they feel like or felt like their superiors, their managers, their supervisors, their directors did not completely appreciate their work ethic, their longevity with the company, the fact that they showed up every day, the amount of work that they were doing. They felt like it was underappreciated. Okay. And they actually said that 66% of employees would quit if they didn't feel appreciated, or 66% of employees have quit because they didn't feel appreciated. And they said the number is even higher for younger workers, with nearly 8 and 10 millennials in the same study saying that they'd be looking for new opportunities on their job when they don't feel appreciated by their leaders or colleagues. Okay. The second reason was feeling burnt out. People felt like um, what they were doing was just overwhelming at times. They felt like they were taking on more work that they could handle. They felt like there were a lot of moving pieces in their establishment, and that was causing them to feel burnt out. And then I'm sure, attached with things that you may have been going on in your personal life, feeling burnt out at work was just not gonna have it. So they were leaving because of burnout. People felt like they were experiencing lack of flexibility with work options, and so people were leaving because of that. People in 2018, which is interesting because this was post pre-pandemic, but they were feeling like they wanted to work remotely. Now, of course, there has been some creative classrooms developed when it comes to virtual preschool, but people want to be able to work remotely. People felt like they had poor mental health. Okay. The impact of poor mental health on an employee's performance and the economy has been understood for some time. It's saying that the study was saying that with 3 out of every 5 employees experience work related mental health issues. Now, you may have already had some mental health issues, but then you couple that with work related stressors and dramas. People were starting to develop anxiety, people were starting to develop depression around work, and people were starting to experience some other mental health problems. And so poor mental health issues are really coming up in this survey. And this survey was done over 2,000, it was done with over 2,000 employees. One of the major reasons that came up was relationships with management. Over 75% felt like they left voluntarily because of their boss and not the job itself. Which brings us to our point. People don't leave companies, they leave people. Okay. So we're going to talk about that. The overall corporate culture of the job, um, they felt like the jobs that they were working were lacking a level of professionalism, a level of camaraderie, a level of advancement. And so because of that, they called that the corporate culture. Okay. um, a lack of engagement, not feeling like that leadership, management, clientele was properly engaging with them. Now, of course, for our field, because we are in childcare, if we initiate the engagement with the children will engage with us. Unhappy at work, just flat out unhappy at where they were. And that goes back again with the environment. Lack of career growth. They felt like there was no opportunity to expand or to change. And they felt like there was no room for growth. Now, in my child care center, the way we encourage our teachers to experience growth and advancement is by going back to school. Here in Pennsylvania, there's only but so many positions you can do until you are required to have a bachelor. So if you started out as the van driver, maybe you came in the building and you were the cook, maybe you came in the office and you helped with some office work, maybe you were a classroom assistant, and then maybe you became lead teacher. After lead teacher, you could be a mentor teacher, you could be a shift supervisor, and then it's a director. And all of those positions need to have at least an associate's degree or higher. Okay. So that article was very interesting. Oops, I'm sorry, guys. That article was very interesting because it was like, oh my goodness, we talk about all the time, how's the culture of your child care center? How is the culture of your establishment? When you walk in, what does it feel like? When you walk in, how are you greeted? How are your parents greeted? What do the faces of your employees look like? Are they smiling with their eyes? Are they greeting you with happy tones, or are they kind of, lackluster? How's the morale around your childcare facility? These are all the things that as a leader, as a director, you kind of have to look out for, because you want to make sure that you are able to gauge the morale in your childcare facility and check in with people and see, how are you doing? What's going on? How are you feeling? Is there anything I can help you with? How can I support you? You want to make sure you have happy campers in your childcare, because happy campers in your childcare will make happy little children. It'll make happy parents, because if the parents pick up their kids and their kids are like, oh, Miss So and so was being mean, or she snapped on us, or she's this, or she's that, those parents are not going to be happy because their children are not happy. So when you have disgruntled employees, it really becomes a snowball effect. And you have people who are now, they're feeling some type of way, they're feeling upset, they're disgruntled about something, and now what are they doing? They're telling the other workers, oh, I don't like this, I don't like the way they do that, I have a problem with this. And all of those things begin to snowball, and then you have an issue in your facility. Why? Because you never checked in with the culture of your staff, you never made sure that your team was all on the same page, and you never made sure that people were at a good place. And so it's a quote by Tony Roberts that says, people, it says, companies don't fail because of the people you fail to hire. Companies fail because of the people you fail to fire. And so in this industry, you want to be able to have happy people, but you also want to make sure that if you notice You've tried it all. You've given bonuses. You've given trainings. You've stepped in a classroom. You've praised the person. You've you've helped them out. You encourage them. You've given out gifts. You've done all the things that a good boss can do for morale and for the establishment. And you're offering to send this person back to school, and you're doing all the things that you could do, and the rest of the team seems to be happy, and you have one person that's kind of like, that still isn't enough. I still don't like it. Oh, this is wrong and that is wrong, and I don't want this and I don't want that. Then you want to make sure that you get the bad apple out the bunch. If you don't get the bad apple out the bunch, the bad apple will ruin the rest of the bunch. You want to make sure that you get them out. And sadly, um, you want to do that quickly, and it might, because sometimes we've had teachers and a parent will come and say, "Oh, Miss Joy, where's so and so?" And I say, "Oh, you know what? They are not here anymore. They're not here right now." And they would say, "Oh, wow, okay." Um, if it's a teacher that has gone on to do other things, I know we had a young lady, her whole nursing school experience, she worked at our childcare facility. And when I tell you, she was very tender, she was very nurturing, she was very loving, she was a sweet person. The parents loved her. When she left, we announced she's leaving because she's finished nursing school. We're so extremely proud of her. We want to love on her. We want to cheer for her. And that's a person where if anything ever happened, if she wanted to come back, if she wanted to come volunteer, if she needed a letter of reference, we would provide it because we had a good rapport with her. There have been some people that have tried to leave, and when they tried to leave, they did not do things the correct way. And sometimes those types of things set in because of jealousy. Those types of things set in because people are just not happy within themselves. But whatever it is, you want to make sure that you are checking the culture. You want to make sure that you are checking in with the staff, your leadership team. You want to make sure that you always are keeping the lines of communication open. And you want to make sure that the culture of childcare leadership is changing. Okay. Childcare is the only type of industry that not only do we need workers to come to work, but they have to come to work in order for us to keep our safety regulations in place. I say this all the time. Someone could work at a McDonald's, and you can last in a McDonald's on an 8-hour shift with two people, somebody on the fries in the register and somebody in the back making burgers, and you can last. I've worked in multiple fast food places. I've worked in customer service places. We've done it. Okay, I worked at McDonald's in high school. We've done it. Two people in the whole building, and the establishment did not lack making any millions. Okay, childcare, not so much. Only two staff show up, you have a huge issue. If you don't have the proper ratio in your infant room, the proper ratio in your toddler room, the proper ratio in your preschool room, your after school program, if you don't have that person to open the door while somebody is changing Pampers, if you don't have somebody to be making meals while somebody is doing a lesson, you cannot survive. So the childcare culture has to change. It has to. I get young ladies that come and work for me, and they say, "Oh, in my daycare, we didn't have all this stuff. We get all this. You go to Lakeshore? Oh, we never had that type of stuff. Oh, you order that. Oh, you order this." And it really makes me sad because I'm like, where have you worked? Who have you worked for? What has been your experience that you're so shocked and surprised by everything? Oh, we get that, you do that. Oh no, can't you do this for the kids? Oh, we get 100% juice at snack time. That's what we're supposed to get. That's what the children are supposed to get, you know. So it's like we have to change the culture of childcare and the culture of childcare leadership. We it kind of has to be a standard set for childcare. the do's and don'ts of childcare. What is supposed to be done, what is not supposed to be done. Almost every other type of industry has some type of official manual from the industry. Banking, you do banking a certain way. Tellers do this. The managers do that. The money is counted this way. Childcare. We have our state regulations, but remember, state regulations are the bare minimum, the bare minimum. You make sure you watch the children, you make sure they're supervised, you feed them. The state regulations doesn't say they have to be 100% fruit juice. It has to be a balanced meal with all the food components. It has to have a protein. It has to have a vegetable or fruit. It doesn't say that. It says feed them. So if you are setting the bar here by making sure you're a part of a food program that is holding you accountable for creating healthy, well-balanced meals for children, and someone over here is like, I'm giving them oodles and noodles and hot dogs, the culture has to be unified in childcare. It has to be some type of unified system for how we are properly feeding these children, leading these children, working with our staff, teaching our staff, training our staff, putting them in on the floor the right way, making sure they have all of their paperwork. I had a young lady a couple of months ago. She came, she wanted a job. She was a sweet young lady. She had a daughter. She seemed like she was going to be a really good worker. However, her clearances were not adding up. The first red flag was the clearances were from California. And as you guys know, I am in Pennsylvania. Miss, we cannot use these clearances. You need to get clearances from Pennsylvania. So she went back and she applied for clearances from Pennsylvania. So the first one came in, okay, no problem. The second one came in. I'm like, where's the second and third page? It says 1 of 3. That was a red flag. The last one came in with a note from the police department that said there was an open charge. And until the open charge was satisfied, she could not receive a clearance. And so I went to the young lady and we talked to her like, listen, and you know, the regulation says you have to have completed clearances before you could work. And you know what happened? She went to another daycare and they hired her. You know what the daycare told her? Oh, she could have hired you if she wanted to. But the regulations say, and if you don't follow the regulations, that's a violation. And so, where is the correct childcare leadership that says that's not how we do things? We do things this way to avoid danger. We do things this way to avoid mishaps. We do things this way because God forbid you bring somebody in that's still going through a case and now she has a charge and oh, and you work where? In childcare. No, that's not how we do that. So we want to make sure that we are changing the culture of childcare leadership by what? Self-developing and becoming better leaders. We want to make sure that if this is our childcare dream and you have never been in childcare before, you have never ran a childcare, you've seen a childcare here and then, maybe you volunteered at one, maybe you've taken your own children to childcare, you want to make sure that anything that stood out to you, like, oh, I did not like the way they did this at that daycare. Oh, I did not like the way my daughter came home with a dirty face. I did not, whatever that is, you know, that stood out to you as a red flag, like warning, warning, warning. You want to make sure that you take it upon yourself to adapt that as something that you're going to do better. And if you don't 100% know, I don't really know that I have all the tools in my toolbox to really go on this journey and be effective in childcare, then you need to make sure that you are self-developing as a leader. When you are becoming a leader, you develop you. When you have become a leader, you develop your team. It has to go that way. It just has to go that way. So I really just wanted to make sure that everybody was kind of like, you know, on the same page about starting to think about what my attitude is going to be as a leader, how I'm adapting leadership skills, what types of trainings do I already know I want to take, what type of systems do I already know I want to get help with, because you want to make sure that you are becoming the child care leader that is needed in the community that you will be working in. You want to make sure that your community is able to see you as a child care leader. You want to make sure that people are going to be able to come to you as a resource in the community, a resource in childcare. And you want to make sure that your staff know, you know what, not only do I work for this organization, but I work for a leader that has a mission for this. Even if you are an absentee owner, and this is a really big one, as some of you know, I am in the process of becoming a 100% absentee owner, okay? This is my 7th year in childcare, 100% absentee owner. And so what I've had to do is bait people that have my heart, train people to have my heart. I'm the leader that goes above and beyond. I'm concerned about you. I'm concerned about your children. I'm concerned about your mental health. I'm concerned about your physical health. I'm also concerned about my classrooms. But I know if I build up a strong, healthy, happy, whole teacher, then a whole, happy, strong teacher will build happy, whole, strong children. I know that. So because of that, I pour into my teachers. I send them back to school. I have conversations with them. We have monthly staff meetings. You have to keep the lines of communication and the lines of leadership open, okay? So we're changing the culture as leaders. We're thinking about all the things that we have talked about this week. Remember, today is day 4. Tomorrow is day 5, the last day of the challenge. We're going to really, really dive into some good information. And if you have any feedback, you have any questions, you want to drop that in the Joy of Childcare Facebook group. And you want to make sure that you are thinking about all the things we've talked about this week, all the ways we could change the culture of childcare, all the ways that you can self-develop to be a great leader, a better leader, a more aware leader. You want to think about all of that, and you want to make sure that you stay in contact with me so that we can go on this childcare journey together. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm excited about your future, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to take questions and answers now for the people who are on live. Have a good one.